Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope you're doing well. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome, very big welcome to today's class. And we are revising the rules, as you can see on the screen. So please ensure that everybody, teachers, and if you're a student, make sure that you are labeled correctly, that you're displaying the correct ID and room number. So you can see the screen, and on the screen, you can see the rules in front of you. So start jotting them down. You can say a short prayer that is powerful. Rabbi zidni ilma, oh Lord, increase my knowledge. And if you just joined us, check your student ID or your teacher ID and your room number. So start writing these rules down, what you can see in front of you. So you should also be sitting in a quiet place with your heads covered, and you should be in wudu. When we unmute you, and while I will unmute some students, I would ask you then to make sure that there's no noise around you, because then other people will be disturbed and we won't be able to hear you. So we know that waqf means stop. Okay, waqf means stop. And I'm going to ask a student to join me. So I'm going to ask Haris to unmute. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah, Haris.
Walaikum salam.
And how are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking. Can I ask you to read out this hadith for me, please?
Yes, hadith. The one who does not recite the Quran melodiously is not from among us.
Yeah, so Quran and melodiously meaning in a nice, beautiful voice, yeah?
Yes.
And Imam Bukhari was the, imam that collated all the hadiths and had them written out, you could say, in a booklet type. So here we can see question number 1. Haris, can you read question number 1?
Yes. A Torah represents the stop sign of al-Waqf al-Mutlaq. This means
al-Waqf al-Mutlaq. Al-Waqf al-Mutlaq. Yeah, it's mutlaq.
This means the absolute stop. It is better to stop here, not compulsory.
Yeah, so it's better to stop here, but not compulsory. So if the ayat was smaller, if I wanted to, I could continue if I wanted to. And we'll have a look at some examples in a moment. Right, so here is an example here, okay? And if I want, I could say Ibrahimu, yeah, Ibrahimu banihi wa Ya'qub. And I could stop here. Because the ayat is small, and if I don't have shortness of breath, wa Ya'qubu ya banija inna Allah, I could continue and not make a stop if I wanted to. So it's an absolute stop, but not compulsory, meaning if I'm able to complete the ayat at the end, then I can, keep reading. So do you want to read number 2 as well?
Yes. However, a meme represents al-Waqf al-Lazim, which means the compulsory stop. Therefore, one must stop here. It is even indicated in the margin.
Okay. So here, this is what you'll see on your margin. It'll say al-Waqful Lazim. This is the meme that you'll see, okay? And we can see here an example at the bottom of the page. Yeah? So that's what you're going to see. Yeah. Yeah, please go on. Please go ahead.
Allahim awliya.
Yeah, so you'd make a stop there, which is a compulsory stop, must stop. Here, we don't have a choice. We're been told we must stop, yeah? So it's like traffic lights where, the red is like stop, you can't go. And then you've got the amber that says, you may go, you still go, it's okay. So here, the meme means you must stop, you haven't got a choice. Okay. Otherwise, if we don't stop, it has implications because we change the meaning. You know, of it's a full sentence or a statement in itself, and that's why we stop here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jazakumullah, Beta. Thank you for joining me. Kurat, assalamu alaikum. Nope, she hasn't. So I'm going to go on to the next page, and here we can see from there's a small ayat from Surah An-Nahl. So I'm gonna, if you're able to read this in Arabic and in English, please keep your hand up. So I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna invite Bushra. Assalamu alaikum, Bushra.
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you, Beta?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking. Are you able to read this in Arabic? This
Yes.
small verse?
Yeah.
Okay.
وإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Very nice. We can practice it again together. Let's do it together. فإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله. Can you do it up to there?
فإذا قرأت القرآن
قرأ. I think that's قرأ.
فإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ
بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Okay, you have a lovely voice, mashallah. So can you read the quote in English for me as well?
Okay. And when we recite the Quran, seek refuge with Allah from Satan the rejected.
Lovely. And you have a beautiful voice, mashallah. So keep reciting at home. And everybody at home, thank you for joining us. And please ensure that your head is covered. Thank you, Bushra. I will ask you to come and join me again sometime. So thank you, Bushra and Haris and everybody else who joined me earlier. Jazakumullah. So you should be sitting in a quiet place. Your head should be covered. You should be in wuzu. You should prepare for classes at 5:45. And make sure that you're in wuzu, you know, your teeth should be clean. So try to brush your teeth, have your head covered, and sit in a quiet place. Use your laptop. Yeah, when you use your laptop, you're able to see the screen clearer. Some of the text sometimes is too small on a phone. So make sure you use a laptop. Sit in a quiet place. When we ask you to mute or unmute, you should be reading out loud. You should be calling your teacher and your friends. So it's coming up to 6 o'clock, and in a moment, we will start the Tilawat. And in that time, I want you to be sitting there reading out loud. Even if you're on mute, you should be reading and following. Listen carefully. And there should be no eating or drinking in class time. You should eat before or eat afterwards. But you may have a sip of water if you like. If you know your throat is dry, you may have a sip of water. So you might want to keep a glass of water near you. That's fine. If you can see on the screen, you can see here, this is just an example, Surah Fatiha. And what I would do is, if I read all of Surah Fatiha or a whole page of Surah Baqarah, what I could do is tell my teacher where I stopped, you see. And in these little boxes, we've learned this in classes. This is a word tam, meaning, you know, where we stopped. So we can tell them that the surah name, Al-Baqarah, is at the top of the page, and the ayat number. Now, the assigned surah is Surah At-Tawbah, which is, I think, is chapter 9, and I'll ask your teacher to give more details, and I think it's verse 94. But you should ask your teacher if you're unsure where you should be reading from. Okay, so please be ready for Tilawat now, okay? And Jazakumullah, and thank you for your time, and I will see you again tomorrow. And I will now pass you to our main teacher, Mrs. Orchard.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullah. We can see your screen and we can hear you.
Oh, Jazakallah, excellent. Jazakallah. So I hope you were paying attention to what was said. The first 10 minutes of the lesson are very important. Actually, the first 10 minutes before our lesson starts are very important, okay? You get some important instructions, and so please try to be here for that. We will now begin with the Tilawat of the Quran. Could you please make sure your heads are covered, and you must repeat after the reciter, who will be a teacher. Is Mrs. Rahman there? Let's have a look.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam. Can you please begin?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
So we'll leave a little bit of a space in between for the children to repeat after you. So the children can repeat as well. Jazakumullah.
قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Excellent, Jazakumullah. And I hope you all, even though you might think you know this surah by heart, I hope you were listening to the way that it was read, and you were copying the way that the reciter was reading, because she was applying all the appropriate rules. And the ones that are highlighted here in green and blue are the ones that we've been focusing on. So let's have a recap of those quickly. So remember, this is how I'm going to ask a couple of you to unmute to show me so I can hear the difference. This is how the N sound is read, and I just want to hear it in your voices. Okay, so I'm going to ask somebody to unmute.
Assalamualaikum.
Hi, Islam Humail. Now I want you to tell me, you've got this word here, you've got that's the Noon, Sakin and Tanween we're concerned about. But here's the Noon, Sakin here, and here's the Tanween. The word is man amana. How would that be pronounced? If there is an alif, we actually call this a hamza in front of it.
Man amana.
Beautiful, mashallah. And did you notice the way that Humail did not sit on this at all, jumped off it straight away? And how would we say adhabun followed by the word alim?
Adhabun alim.
Excellent, beautifully done. So could you notice how it was clear? And when something is clearly read, what do we call it? We call it
Izhar.
izhar. And we know, and you know that it's going to be izhar because the Noon, Sakin and Tanween are followed by what?
Or the letters of the throat.
Excellent. You see all of these 6 letters of the throat, the hamza, the ha, the ayn, the ha, the ghain, and the kha. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Jazakumullah. Thank you for that. That was very nicely done. Okay. So Humail read it nice and clear. Okay. Now, how do we do the next one? So I'm asking somebody to unmute. Remember, it's all about the sound. If you've got your hand up, it means you want to unmute. So I'm sending a message. If you're not going to unmute, then don't put your hand up. I'm going to send a message to somebody who's not named. I need your names as well, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Who's that?
Mehreen.
Mehreen, beta. Right, Mehreen. Now, this is a different one. This is the opposite of izhar. Okay, this is the opposite. What's going to happen is the noon sakin, it could be tanween, the sound is going to be followed by a ra or a lam. So let's try. Min is followed by rabbihim. It's a word beginning with ra. How would you read that?
Mir rabbihim.
Excellent. I didn't hear the N sound at all because it completely merged with the ra. How about this one? Min followed by ladunna.
Min ladunna.
Excellent. So all that happened was the ra and the lam became mushaddad, right? But the N disappeared completely. Now, did you do it with hunna or no hunna?
No hunna at all.
No hunna. Excellent. That's merging without hunna. Jazakumullah. So again, can you hear that in their voices? That the first one, it was clear. Now it's completely disappeared. Let's try another one. Let's see if we can do the next one. It's a bit trickier. the next one. But if you follow the instructions, it should be fine. I'm asking somebody to unmute. If you're a bit shy, then I'll ask somebody else. I'm sending a message. Walaikum Jazba. Now, Jazba, I've got here. So we've done the letters of the throat. We've done ra and lam. Now there are these letters, and we can make a word. We can say yanmu, yanmu, the ya, noon, meme, and wow. Now, when the ya, noon, meme, or wow, which are always mashaddad, by the way, when they follow the n sound, so it could be a noon sakin or a tanween, we're going to get what we call a nasal, a sustained nasal sound. What do we call that nasal sound?
We call it huna.
Hunna, excellent. So make sure we hold it for 2. So when the word man is followed by yaqulu, what would it be?
It would be may yaqulu.
Beautiful, mashallah. I really heard that, hunna. Excellent. When min is followed by ni'matin, what is it?
It would be min ni'matin.
Very good, mashallah. I really heard that, hunna. And again, we've got min. Now these two are quite good because there's a nun mushaddad and a nun mushaddad, and we do hunna anyway, so they shouldn't be too difficult, okay? So min followed by malin would be?
Mim malin.
Excellent. And finally, min followed by walin would be?
Miwalin.
Excellent. That's very good. I like the way that was read, especially because she held on to that hunna. Okay, so we've had clearly read, disappearing completely, and then a little bit of a hunna, almost merging and disappearing and blending, but actually there's a little bit of a hunna with these 4 letters. Now, finally, this is probably one of the easiest ones. This one is, sorry, that was called idgham. The last 2 were called idgham, merging, idgham. And remember I said it's a bit like, the way to remember it is like gum. Idgham has got gum, it's got a jim and a meme, and gum is something that you should keep in your mouth, like a hunna sound, you should keep it in, or you could swallow it by mistake, and that would be like the complete merging, the ra and the lam, where the noon sound disappears completely, if you need help to memorize. Okay, the next one is called iqlab, and the way I remember that is because iqlab, exchange, the word exchange is ending with the but sound, and the but in Arabic is a ba, and this concerns the ba. Now, when the ba follows the noon sakin or tanween, something happens, and one of you is going to tell me what happens. So if you could unmute and let me know. I'm sending a message. If I'm sending a message. Walaikum assalam, Inaya, how are you?
I'm okay, and how are you?
Good, alhamdulillah. Now, Inaya, tell me what's going to happen to the n sound if it's followed by a ba?
It will exchange for M sound with like huna.
That's correct. It becomes like a meme sakin sound instead of a noon sakin. But hunna means you've got to hang on to it for a count of 2. Okay. So this wouldn't be unbithum. What would it be?
It would be bithum.
Excellent. That was superb, mashallah. Did you hear that? So just have a good look at that and make sure you remember all those rules. Are you still there, Bida?
Yeah.
So I want you to read this out for me. Please give me the title first.
Okay. Please keep up with the NL2 rules.
Okay.
Most important to understand and apply the rules in our reading. But we are also now learning the names of rules. These are important to label things so that we don't need to give a long description of something. Today's rule is a matter of subtraction, taking away.
Excellent, superbly done. I don't think I need to do this job anymore. You can do it for me, Jazakallah. Nicely done. Okay, so remember the labels. Remember, izhar, idgham with hunna, without hunna, iqlab. Okay, now we're going to learn another one. And we're going to learn today's rule through subtraction. Okay, let's do some maths. And you can tell me if this is correct. So 28 minus 6 minus 6 minus 1 should be 15. Okay, so 28 refers to the numbers of the letters and sounds in the Arabic alphabet. If we take away 6, which are izhar, remember the letters of the throat? Then there were 6 yarmulun, the idgham letters, and then that final ba, which is 1. We did all of this the last 3 weeks. These were the numbers that are associated with those rules. They're associated with those rules because that's the number of letters that will have the effect, which will have a particular effect on the sound. We've done all of that. We've talked about izhar, idgham, iqlab. Okay. Now the leftover ones, we don't actually memorize them. We just know, okay, if it's not this or this or this, it's going to be this one, which is ikhfa. Ikhfa means concealment, hiding. Okay. And the only way we know it's 15 is because we've taken away all of these. Okay. So that's how we know that. Okay. So take a good look at those words. The one in purple is the one we're going to be doing today. It's a new rule, but actually the only way to learn ikhfa is to know iqlab, idgham, izhar. Once you know those, ikhfa is easy, inshallah. Okay, what is this rule? Let's have a look. So it is called concealment. So let's have a look. I'll ask somebody to help me read this out. I was in a bit of a rush yesterday and didn't get time, so I thought you might help me today, inshallah. Hi, Islam, I'll say now. Could you please to give me a definition of ikhfa here at the top?
Okay. Ikhfa, concealment or hiding of the sound by producing a light hunna.
Okay, excellent, jazakumullah. Would you be able to read this bit here as well? What is the rule of ikhfa?
Okay. What is the rule of ikhfa of Nun, Sakin and Tanween? The state between izhar and idgham, concealing the actual sound. If after Nun, Sakin and Tanween, any of the following 15 letters,
Do you think you can see letters? Yeah, yeah.
Jim, Dal, Dal, Ra,
Za,
Za, Sin, Shin, Sod, Zod, Fa, Za, Fa,
fa, yeah.
Fa, Ka, Ka.
Excellent.
Comes next the Nun, Sakin and or Tanween will be pronounced with light nasal sound for about 2 seconds or 2 counts.
Excellent, jazakumullah for your help. That was very nice reading. Okay, so I put this in front of your screen, not because you have to memorize these letters, just so that you become familiar with them. And inshallah, you will know which ones are ikhfa. Okay, so for example, I'm going to get to what I'm going to do is now it's contained in these verses of Surah Baqarah, and it comes up quite a lot actually. It's the most common rule. And so I want you to get to this before I do, okay? So I'm going to say, so before I get to it, you see if you can spot the first rule of ikhfa. See if you get to it before, point to it. Yeah, okay? So it will not be yunfiqun, it will be yunfiqun. Okay, you don't make your tongue touch anything. If your tongue touches something, you'll have a clear end sound. There's a few ways of making this ghunna sound. One way, there's a few ways, but one way is as if you're making the sound, the N sound, but don't let your tongue touch the roof of your, so the top of your, with the N, you do the top, where your teeth and your gums are. Say N, you have your tongue there. Don't let it touch. Don't let it go. Let it just not make contact. And the sound should come from your nose, okay? Yunfiqun. And we know it's a nasal sound because if you try to make a nasal sound by blocking your nose, you wouldn't be able to, okay? Where's the next one? Let's see if we can find a Nun, Sakin or Tanween. And it can't, now, the thing to remember is it's not going to be Haruf Halaqi or Yarmalun or Ba following it. Here it is. Did you get to it before I did? Okay. And so this will not be unzila because that would be izhar. This is the za is not a letter of izhar, it's a letter of ikhfa. It would be unzila. Okay. Next one. Where's the next one? Can you see it? Can you get to it before I can? Yeah. Again. How would you say that? Unzila. And the next one is close by. Here. So the word is min and it's followed by the word qablik. How would that be? Min qablik. Okay. So this nasal sound is going to help us with our tune as well. Okay. So that is the sound that ikhfa makes. Right. So let's see if we can have a good look at those letters. You're not going to have to memorize them. You just have to know them. You will know them, inshallah. Inshallah, you will get familiar with them. Okay. This is another way of looking at it. We've got this table. We'll send this to you in your handout as well. And so this is rule number 1, izhar. There's an example. Rule number 2, idgham. No gunna with the ra and the lam. Gunna with the yanmu letters. There's yanmu, there's ril. Then there's iqlab. There's an example up there, number 3. And then here's today's rule, number 4. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we've explained rules 1, 2, and 3 over the past 3 weeks, haven't we? And last week, we even talked about the exceptions of the idgham rule. Ad-dunya, bunyanun, sinwanun, qinwanun. Remember, we said that they're not, you might think they were idgham, but they're not. They're actually izhar. We even did that. This is the only new thing this week, number 4. The remaining 15 letters that are not covered in rules 1, 2, and 3, we conceal them. The end, the sound is concealed with a light gunna. Zila, ikhfa. Number 4, ikhfa. Everything else should be familiar to you. Izhar, idgham, kamil, complete assimilation. Idgham, naqis, partial assimilation. Gunna, no gunna. Iqlab, ikhfa, concealment. Clearly, all these words you should know, inshallah. Okay. So you're going to get that in you'll get that as well in your handout. But that should 1, 2, and 3 should make sense to you because we've done those already. Here's another example. Again, we can send you an example of this, and you could possibly do this with your teachers as well. That now that we know these rules, we've got to try to understand which ones they are. Now, I know it's a new rule, so let's give it a go. If anybody wants to give this a go, let's see if we can match the rule, the sound to the rule. If you're confident, I want you to unmute immediately. I'm going to ask one person to help me with all of these. Let's see.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum Haris Bida. We have to be super quick today. Now let's see if we can do this. Do you think you would know which min?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Who's that?
Rabab.
Rubab. Okay, Rubab. First Haris, then Rubab. Okay. Haris Bida. Haris Bida. Min ahli. Min ahli. Which rule would that be? I read it clearly.
Izhar.
Izhar. Okay. Yeah. Because of this letter. Okay, Rubab, this one. Rasulun minallah. Which one is this?
Can't really see where it is.
There's the Tanween, there's a meme, Mushaddad, meme. Where is the meme? Which rule would that be?
Iqlab.
It's not iqlab. It makes a sound. It would be idgham with gunna. Okay. Right. Meme. Yeah. Meme. Okay. Excellent. Right. Hang on. So, Haris, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Here. Kina. Munfakina.
That is ikhfa.
Ikhfa. Yes. Excellent. Right. Rubab beta, here you got a qaf. It's one of today's letters. Kutubun and qayyima. Kutubun qayyima.
Will that be
What's today's rule?
ikhfa?
Ikhfa, very good. And Haris, this one, look, there's a baby meme then, is about min ba'adi.
That is iqlab.
Iqlab. Oh, excellent. Jazakumullah. Thank you very much, both of you. Jazakumullah. Okay. That's how we're meant. Now, obviously, when we read the Quran, you're not going to have these definitions on the side, but the idea is that we learn them, right, over these. We've had about a month to do this, and you've got another week of half term to catch up on this. Okay. Same here. There's no definitions here. We should be able to recognize, so inshallah, after this week, we should recognize all of these. Most of these are ikhfa. This is to show you, ikhfa is the most, it would be the most common, wouldn't it? Because there's 15 letters. So ikhfa comes up a lot. It's the most common rule. And here it is in Surah Baqarah, the one that you're going to learn by heart. So we did some of that today. All right, you can go over this during the week as well. Quick reminder of the Waqf sign la. La means no. It's telling us not to pause, okay? But let's look at it in 3 situations. Now have a look at the text. When la comes within a verse, it's telling us not to pause or do waqf because of the meaning, right? We need to continue, do wasl and combine the words according to the meaning, okay? We don't have the translation in front of us, so it's helping us. So don't stop. La, no, don't stop. Next situation is if it comes, Now this could go for any sign that comes on top of another one of these little letter signs, okay? If la appears on top of another sign or a mark, then it should be followed, okay? The top one, you ignore the bottom one. The top one trumps the bottom one, okay? It's more important to follow the top one. When you get two signs, it's called alamatain. It means two signs, but that's different to this one because obviously this is on top. You get signs that are on top of Waqf tam. This was the stop that the Prophet ﷺ would pause at. So you can stop at that. You have a choice. So la is just saying to you, look, if you want to continue, you can. And for that matter, any other sign that comes on the top, you have the choice, or you could stop and follow the bottom sign, okay? Right, quick reminder of how you should be taking notes, please, okay? And have your notes in front of you because the teacher might ask you something. So please do take notes like these beautiful ones here, right? So if you take notes, that way you will remember the rules, especially during the week, because you don't get the handout until the end of the week. Let's go into our breakout rooms now. Make sure everybody is labeled and come back. We'll see all of you back here. Let's have a look. Practice these today. Shall we go into our breakout rooms?